Thanks for joining us for Inside Tulsa Athletics. A very interesting show, I think, for you today, is we're going to be covering football. Also, we're going to be able to cover some soccer. We're going to take a look at baseball, all of the different things that's going on in spring sports. And I think you will enjoy what's going to happen with the Booker T. Washington football program. And we'll have that for you right here on Inside Tulsa Athletics. And then, of course, we'll close the show with Gil Cloud, Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools. So don't go away. We're coming right back.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to tulsarefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. tulsarefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education?
What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job?
Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher.
You got the skills, the smarts.
Yes, you.
You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess?
What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to tulsarefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. tulsarefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the head baseball coach at Booker T. Washington High School, John Potosnik. And Coach, you just came back from Florida with your baseball team. Tell our audience how that went and from the positive aspect, what it will do with your kids.
We played some really good teams down there. Our win-loss record wasn't what we wanted. I mean, we went 1-3, but we were in every game. We faced a lot of good talent. The first team that we beat has won 50 games the last 2 years, and so
Wow.
They're a very solid team out of Florida. And then we faced a really tough team out of Bentonville, Arkansas, that just flat out was better than us. And so then the other two games against the Florida high schools, we had a chance to win, and it just didn't work out for us in the end. But we learned a lot about our team. We learned a lot about our pitching depth, and that we need to improve in that aspect of the game. And we got a lot of players, some playing time that hadn't really seen the field yet, and so we can see what they can do and see if they're going to be able to help us down the road.
John, as I look at things along this line, I see where you took the kids to Florida on a bus. And when you're traveling down there and back, the closeness that develops between the coaching staff and the kids that are playing, that's something that I don't know where you could accomplish that if you didn't do what you do.
Yeah, I mean, the team really bonds together when you go on a trip like that and stay in the hotel rooms together. And, they brought their video games. And so every night you go to check rooms and they're playing video games in each other's rooms and not out causing trouble. And so, but they really bonded, being away from home and being away from their parents. And so it's a good thing.
As you come back from Florida now, and you have thought a lot about what has occurred, what did they prove to you down there that you knew to improve on to go ahead and meet the schedule that you have?
Well, I mean, they proved, one, that they can play with anybody, and so, but they also proved that we need to improve our overall pitching staff and to get a little bit deeper. I mean, we went down there without our top two pitchers being available because of injuries. And so we knew our overall depth was not as good as it needed to be, but they got a lot of innings, and so they improved, and hopefully that will come back to help us.
But you were impressed and satisfied defensively with the kids, what they did. Now, when you're missing those two good pitchers, there's not a whole lot you can do about that. But defensively, did they play right?
Defensively, we played great. We had 2 errors in the first game and never had an error the rest of the tournament.
Wow, that is great.
And that's one of the things we brought up to the young pitchers is you just got to throw strikes because we have a great defense. And so, and they proved it time and time again. It's just that you got to help us by throwing strikes.
Mm-hmm. Coach, when you come back, and you've mentioned this, the closeness that develops when the team is in Florida, was this year, you've done this before, was this year any better, or it still meets the good level that you want?
I think they maybe bonded a little bit more this year than they had last year. And so last year at the beginning of the trip, we had a little bit of trouble. Nothing bad as far as bad behavior or anything, but they just weren't playing together, and they kind of bonded towards the end of the trip. But this trip, we didn't see any of that. They were very tight from the beginning, and I just think they became tighter as a team when we got home. And so, because they were discussing in class today about how they're going to miss each other, and so when they graduate. And so, I think that part of the goal was accomplished.
We'll talk about your schedule now that you have facing you. And even though there could be a faculty strike, you're going to be able to take the varsity and play. So next week when this all occurs, you're going to continue with the schedule. Tell our audience about who you're going to play, the tournaments, and what it's going to mean for your team.
Well, we start out with today and tomorrow. We have really big district games to determine first place with Pryor. And then we go into the Pryor Claremore tournament Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So we're going to have 6 games this week. And then the rest of the week, or the rest of the year, we have the Broken Arrow Bixby tournament. And then every Monday, Tuesday, we have district games that are very important. Every game's very important to try to determine for the playoffs.
When you take a look at the tournaments that you go to, you take a look at your schedule, the kids have to get better or they'll get blown out, won't they?
Yeah, they have to get better. I mean, when we go to the Claremore tournament, the first team we play is the number 1 ranked team out of 3A, Oklahoma. And, they've beaten a lot of 6As this year. And so these tournaments don't get any easier. They actually get tougher.
Well, Coach, we want to wish you the very best of luck. And it seems like that your trip to Florida is going to be a big plus. And we will be following you throughout and waiting to see what's going to happen.
Thank you.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. When we come back, we have more for you, so don't go away.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education?
What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job?
Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher.
You got the skills, the smarts.
Yes, you.
You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess?
What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the head track coach of both boys and girls at Booker T. Washington High School, Coach Greg Nash. And Coach, it's always a pleasure having you aboard. And I know one thing for sure, you always have some great tracksters at Booker T. Washington High School.
Yes, David, we have we always have some talent coming through that Booker T each year, and we just try to keep it going and keep them developing each year and try to get better each year. Take what we got.
Well, when you look at the boys and you look at the girls, which one do you feel like maybe will provide more first medals than the other this year?
Well, the boys are a little bit ahead of the girls because, like I said, we had heavy graduation a couple of years ago with the girls, so we have some those are guys that play football. We got some good skilled kids and running the relays and running the sprints and long jump and high jump. So we do have some depth there in the boys' side. So in the girls, like I said, they're fairly young, and we just kind of rebuild with them and try to improve each week and get better. We got a lot of young kids, and especially freshmen. We got about 22 freshman girls, and we got about 8 boys as freshmen. So we're going to try to get better and improve and try to bring them along and replace some of the people that's graduated in the past years.
When you take a look at both boys and girls in track, and during the spring break, a lot of the baseball teams went out of state and went to tournaments. What did you do with track during the spring break?
Well, we had a meet before the spring break, and most of those kids were already planning to go on trips and stuff. So we practiced a couple of days, and then the rest of the time we took off because, like I said, a lot of our kids at Booker T, they go on mission trips, and they're already committed. So it's kind of hard to get them together, and we just took some time off and took a break and starting on the 26th, we'll get after it and get them going again and have a big meet coming up at Claremore on Friday.
Well, now that that we're back in, you've got the big meet coming. What happens after Claremore?
Well, after the Claremore meet, we'll be going to Stillwater. We'll have a good meet over at Stillwater High School, and then we'll come back home, and we'll have a meet at Booker T. Washington High School on April 13th. We'll have our meet that we host for Tulsa Public Schools. We'll have that meet at Booker T starting at 11 o'clock on the 13th. And then we have Muskogee on the 20th of April. And then we'll have another little mini meet that we'll have at Booker T, and then get ready for regionals and state. When you get ready for regionals, what does that do as far as preparing you for the good shot in the regional tournament? Well, first of all, we'll get it narrowed down to the top people that's going to be running in the regionals, because you can only put 3 in each event and have 1 relay team for the regionals and state. So in the regional meet that we'll be going to, that usually at Claremore hosts the regional meet, you can put 3 in each event, and they take the top 3 individuals for the state meet and the relay team if you qualify for the state meet the next week at UConn. Well, you know, Greg, when we take a look at it's so important to have some good kids on different parts of the track program. From the boys and the girls, who do you look toward maybe that is much better than you expected when you started the season and possibly have a chance at a medal in the state track meet? Well, we have some returning guys in the 100 and the 200 that placed, a year ago or so in the state track meet. Probably one of the fastest guys, I think, in the state, Oklahoma, in the 200 would be Dax Hill. He's surprised us last year with coming out. I thought he'd be better in the 100, but he's much stronger in the 200 as he gets his momentum built up and his speed. And he clocked like a 22.6 last year, somewhere around in there, in the 200 meters. Then we got a couple of young girls that's very exciting to look at. A couple of freshman girls doing a good job and preparing for the regions to state meet that I'm really excited about. So you got to build with the youth, and then your 10th, 11th, and 12th graders, you got to keep them going and try to. Each year we try to have about 8 to 10 returning each year for each class, so you can build a good, solid foundation. You know, when you take a look, and you were talking about what you would be doing each week, it seems like that you have a good meet. Does that really build you up and get ready for the state playoffs? Yes. It does, especially when you, like I said, getting ready for the region. You got to go to some competition meets that are very competitive that you're going to go to and prepare you for the region. But you got to get ready, because if you don't go to meets that's going to prepare you, then you don't know how you're going to fit in when you go to these meets that where all your top competition will be when they bring everybody together as one. When we come to one meet at regionals, and then there's one state meet, and then that's it. We're about to run out of time, but I have to ask you this question. Could you name me a couple or 3 boys or girls that have exceeded what you expected, like young kids come in and suddenly move up, or older ones come back with a better attitude? Well, do you have a couple? Like I said, Dax Hill is probably one of our better runners on the team, and I look for him to qualify in the regionals and place in the top in the state. And then we have a quarter miler named Sean Hines. Very good, very dedicated young man. He's going to be a senior. He really surprised us last year, and he's improved, and I think he has a chance to win the 400 in the state, and then we should be in good shape.
Well, Greg, I want to wish you the very best of luck, and we'll be following it closely. And it's always great to see the Hornets and Greg Nash as they go up the ladder.
Okay. Thank you very much, Avery. Thank you very much.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. We have more coming up right after this.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
We continue inside Tulsa Athletics. Glad you're aboard with us as we welcome to the show the athletic director as well as the head soccer coach at Memorial High School, Mark Dover. And Mark, when we take a look at what's happening with soccer in the Tulsa public schools, and I might say the state of Oklahoma, it is increasing and getting better every year.
Certainly. Yeah, I really think that it's grown over the last 5, 10, 15 years, and it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be in Tulsa as a soccer coach.
Well, what has happened at Memorial High School during that period of time when you have been the head soccer coach?
So this is my 7th year. Over the course of the 7 years, obviously our population and our clientele has changed quite a bit. We're servicing a different youth than we have in the past. It's all about the student athletes, and we're trying to make them as successful as possible to prepare them for life and becoming young men.
What kind of a percentage increase have you had of students coming out and participating in the soccer program?
Well, I think we've nearly doubled our participants in the last 3 years. We're trying to establish a positive JV program for our kids to develop in to prepare them for varsity competition.
When you take a look at your varsity, kind of bring our audience up to date on the games that you have played, what you're looking forward to, and say some of the tournaments that we might see in the paper, some winning by the Chargers of Memorial High School.
Sure. One of our biggest games every year is East Central. This year we played them. I thought our young team came out and really competed against them. We ended up losing because they're a great team. And so that was a tough one. We played Sand Springs really close. Some of the games that we're looking forward to in district would be, Edison's always a great game. Bishop Kelly's a great game. The tournament that we have coming up is at Sapulpa this weekend.
When you take a look at East Central, that program has just developed from ground level up, and it seems like they have gotten better every year.
Certainly, yeah. I think that can be attributed to the coaching staff there. Before it was Josh Diamond, now it's Connor Whittam, and I've got a huge amount of respect for what they've done with that program. And like you said, that's a program that's really developed and gotten better over the course of the years.
And when you take a look at it, that has done a lot to increase the interest of other teams in the Tulsa public schools. And when you take what do you have to do for our audience here in the playoffs for you to advance, to compete for a state title? What do you have to do in soccer?
So in soccer, you have to qualify as the top 4 team in your 8-team district. If you qualify for the playoffs, you play in the first round, and then you move on to the quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. The crossover, the East-West crossover is usually the third game, so the semifinal. So you play somebody on the west side of the state And then if you win that, you play at a neutral site for the final.
Do you have invitational tournaments in soccer like they do, say, in basketball and track meets?
Some invitational, yes. Most of the time, a lot of schools are trying to follow or find teams to fill the spots, but they want to keep it as competitive as possible.
And when the interest as it moves down, has it moved down into the elementary school that the students would be coming to Memorial? How far down does it go that you're creating interest in soccer?
In high school, we always want to find a way to include our junior high feeder programs. So really, we see the most input at the junior high level and then up through the high school varsity and JV levels.
Well, and with the possibility of the teachers walking out, you're going to maintain your practices and maintain your game in soccer. And I know as a coach and as an athletic director, that makes you happy that you can do that.
Certainly, we're excited to be able to compete.
Well, what about the other, as an athletic director, what about the other sports in the spring? Are they going to continue and do what you want them to do?
Yeah, they're going to, as long as it's a spring varsity competition, they're going to be able to compete.
Coach, when we take a look at the soccer program at Memorial High School as you begin to put it together, how are the kids molding together at this particular time?
Because we're so young, we graduated, like I said, 9 seniors from last year's, starting lineup. The upperclassmen now have kind of taken on a more nurturing role. Mm-hmm. They're protective over the younger players, and we do have younger players with a lot of talent. So I think it's a really cohesive group. I think everybody's looking to develop and looking forward to the future in Memorial Soccer.
And as I look at it like that, as the time goes on, then the unity becomes even greater. So you've got a lot of good things to look forward to. And we appreciate having you aboard here on Inside Tulsa Athletics, and we're going to catch you playing soccer.
Great. Thank you for having me.
Stay with us. More coming up right after this.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we continue visiting with the head coaches of the Tulsa Public School. And we want to welcome aboard Connor Witham, who is the boys soccer at East Central High School. And when we talk about soccer in Oklahoma, not just Tulsa, in Oklahoma, you talk about East Central. Is that being maintained?
It is. It is. So this is my second year as the head coach. I was an assistant for 3 years. Last year, my first year as head coach, we went to the semifinals and we made it to the state championship for the first time in school history. We fell a little short, but it was a big accomplishment for our program to make it there for the first time ever. And our goal is to continue that momentum this year and hopefully get back and actually win the whole thing this year.
And Connor, when you take a look at what has happened, it seems to me like over the years, my memory, that every year there are more and more students coming out for soccer at East Central. And I understand now you have well over 100.
Yeah, we have probably 100 kids try out every year. Obviously, I can't take them all. I'm one person with one assistant. We can't manage them all. But our school's 1,000 kids, and we have 100 try out for soccer. So a tenth of the school comes and tries out to play soccer. And we pick the best about 40 of them, and we do the best we can with JV and varsity games to get them ready and continue the program with the momentum it's had for the last about 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Coach, does that carry over with attendance, with that kind of interest? Do they come to watch them play?
Oh, yeah. We've had some of our games are more heavily watched with people coming than our football games. We had a game a couple weeks ago in Broken Arrow at their stadium, and we had more fans from East Central than Broken Arrow had to watch their team play.
Well, when you take a look at what is going to happen, I know this is early in the season, but what does it look like for you to be able to qualify and maybe compete once again for that gold ball?
So we start district play this Friday. We have our 7 district games, and then however we do in district, which hopefully we'll win all 7 of them and be the number 1 seed, get into the playoffs. Then when you're in the playoffs, the way our line falls this year, we'd have the potential to host 3 home games, even a semifinal game at home, and then hopefully get to the state championship game again. But we're at a point right now, we're just taking it one step at a time. We're in our first district game coming up on Friday, and that's the most important game right now, because if you don't win your district games, you don't even make the playoffs and have a chance to win a state championship.
Well, who do people consider the strong teams in your district?
Booker T is in our district this year. They dropped down to 5A, and they're in our district, and I've seen them play. They're a good team. They've got a lot of good players. They're they have a lot of experience playing in 6A. They're in our district, and also Will Rogers. They moved up from 4A into our district, and they made the semifinals last year in 4A. And so those 2 teams are really, really good. Claremore is always a really good team, and then Nathan Hale has been building their program, and they're getting a lot better. So we've got a really, really tough district, but I think our guys are good enough to go out and do well enough to make the playoffs and hopefully win our district.
Has it been a surprise for you as a head coach at East Central High School in soccer to see the interest and the influx in people playing soccer than they did, say, 10 years ago?
So for me, it's kind of natural. I went to East Central, so I played soccer at East Central. So I kind of knew the interest, and now I live over there. My house is over there. I live in the community. So it's an everyday thing. I see kids playing soccer, whether it's at the school, whether it's in the streets, whether it's at some of the local fields that are around the school and in the neighborhood. So it's just kind of a natural progression. And then we're just trying to, me and my assistant coach, just trying to keep those kids obviously in school and doing the right thing so that they have the opportunity to play soccer, not just in high school, but hopefully send them off into college and play soccer as well.
So as you look around, you're not surprised at the interest and the increase in attendance and kids who are playing soccer than a lot of people think?
No, I'm really not that surprised at all, because we've had success. And kids, they're going to kind of flock to that success. We've had success for many years. And so kids kind of flock to that success. So it's kind of an expectation now. Our expectation every year is to win our district. Our expectation is to at least make the semifinals. And so when we have those expectations, kids, they want to be a part of that. And so they work really hard to be a part of our program.
Well, when you take a look at what's going on in soccer throughout the state of Oklahoma, has there been any particular phase of it that has surprised you and has encouraged you to become better at East Central?
Yeah, just the amount of kids that play in the state, period. I mean, I remember when I was growing up, I'd drive by a baseball field and it'd be full of people playing baseball. Now, in a lot of cases, those fields have turned into soccer fields. And so the amount of kids playing soccer is kind of skyrocketed. And so with that skyrocketing, we just try to be the best coach, and we try to have the best program possible to have those kids flourish when they're underneath our program at East Central.
Well, I'll tell you for sure, when you take a look at what has happened, I think the quality of play, it gets better every year. And as it gets better, the attendance and the participation will get bigger as well.
It certainly does.
Well, we appreciate you being aboard here on Inside Tulsa Athletics. We'll be following you very closely and keep those Cardinals going and bring home a gold ball, okay?
Let's hope so.
All right. Stay with us here on Inside Tulsa Athletics. We have more coming up right after this.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of. Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
We continue inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard the athletic director as well as the head football coach at Booker T. Washington High School, Coach Brad Caleb. And Brad, always a pleasure having you aboard. And man, what is happening now at Booker T with you changing conferences? A lot of people maybe don't understand why this is occurring, but it is for good reasons.
Yeah, yes, it is. Recently we just kind of got into Frontier Conference, and Tulsa Public School has always been a tradition of playing with the other 8 schools, 9 schools that we have, and frankly, we will always have been the largest school, 6A, and I just think that's the best move for us because we can fluctuate to 6A to 5A in other sports, and just to be in the best conference once we're in 6A. I think it's going to be a great move for Booker T. Washington as we progress and kind of get larger probably as the years to come. So I think this will be a great move for our school.
Well, I think what happens is I have thought about this because of the way the enrollments have occurred in the Tulsa Public Schools. When you play a team that you're pretty much going to whip pretty badly, that doesn't make you better. I mean, you need to be playing teams that will compete with you on your level. And to me, it seems like that's what you're doing here.
Yes, we are. This past year, my 9th grade team got into the Frontier Conference, and, we played the Jinx and the Sapulpas and the Unions. And I just think it would make our program better. And here recently, our basketball team is going to get in there as far as our other sports. And like I say, we always been a 6A team, and what better way to play in the best conference in the state of Oklahoma? I think everything will just kind of accommodate as far as our ticket gates. We're going to draw bigger crowds with the Unions and the Jinx and so forth, and the top line, we can compete with those teams. And I'm not knocking the other Tulsa public schools, but back decades ago, it was very competitive. Tulsa Public has diminished like a lot of various sports around here, and so we're just trying to keep that momentum going. And like I said, we could be 6A here in a couple of years with the basketball team, like we were last year with our baseball team and so forth. So we're in a conference that I think is going to be around, established as strong, and years to come. And if we do go back to 6A, like I said, we will be in the best conference in the state of Oklahoma. So we're kind of looking forward to good things about that.
Well, Brad, as I look at this more and more, I have to respect you and what you are thinking and what you are doing for the benefit of the athletic program at Booker T. Washington High School. Because a lot of times people don't understand that we have lost many, many students in Tulsa Public Schools. Consequently, some of the schools have changed athletically rather dramatically. And what you are doing here, as I see it, is that you're trying to make sure that the kids at Booker T. Washington High School have to play at their best in order to get what you want from them. And I think you're just doing a heck of a job.
Yes, because, we're kind of different from a lot of the schools because our kids are hand selected, so we don't know where we're going to get, but our numbers are bigger than the other schools, and man, we do fluctuate from 6A to 5A, and the last couple of years we've been 6A, and unfortunately, we bounced back down to 5A, and who knows if we go back up, but you hit it right on the head. We do want to play the best of the best, and our basketball coaches, they do get in the tournaments with. They go to Westmore and we get in a union tournament and we compete. And like I said, we're still going to be 5A next year. But what a way to kind of tune up playing those type of schools, then go into 5A and man, you're polished and you're ready to go. So we're excited. A lot of our coaches are excited about it. And if we do go back to 6A, like I said, we'll be in the best conference in the state of Oklahoma.
And Coach, as you look at it, as I look at it, maybe maybe I'm not seeing it correct, but in all of your sports, and you mentioned girls basketball, you can talk about the track, you can talk about your swimming program. They compete, and you want them to compete against the good ones, don't you?
Yeah, they do. I mean, our swim team, they last year they competed in 6A and came up short. Coach P last year was just a couple games away making the state tournament in baseball in 6A. Of course, our basketball, our boys team made it to the state finals.
Yes.
And upset, Union, who was nationally ranked. So we're capable of playing at that level. And like I said, the good thing about it right now, we're still 5A, so that's a good thing. But that's to kind of play those teams and play the best in the state of Oklahoma, and then go to the 5A with our schools. I just think it's a good thing for Booker T. Washington.
Well, Coach, I want to wish you the very best of luck. And as I look at what you're doing a tremendous job as the Director of Athletics for Booker T. Washington High School, and we look forward to having you back soon.
Well, thank you.
Stay with us. More coming up right after this.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff. Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
We continue inside Tulsa Athletics as we welcome aboard from the city of Tulsa, Lauren Colbert. And Lauren, the things that you do that are involved from the city of Tulsa to the education, to the athletic programs,
yes.
It's just remarkable.
It's been fun. It's been a fun year. We do have a sponsorship with Tulsa Public Schools Athletic Department. The best part about this sponsorship is I get to go into the schools every single week. So elementary school, so usually 1st to 6th grade. But I go in Thursday, Friday, and I kind of just take over the PE class. And we learn about the trash in the city of Tulsa, and that it goes to a waste to energy facility. So all of your trash, if you live in Tulsa, in a gray cart is actually burned. So I do teach them that. We talk about the recycling, what you can recycle and what you can't recycle. So basically recyclables and then contamination. I teach them about the word, about how it affects our recycling stream. And then after we learn about all that, we play a relay where I set up the blue recycling carts. We go to the end of the gym and they look into this, I have these 2 black bins that I have contamination in there mixed in with recycling. They have to pick one recyclable item, throw it in their blue cart and run back. And so when I first go in there, they're like, oh, we're learning about trash and recycling, that's great. And then, of course they're sarcastic. And then by the end they're loving the game, and it's important to listen and learn about the recycling, because in the game, if you pick the contamination item, and you throw it into your blue cart, your team's disqualified. So of course it puts a lot of pressure on all the kids to really listen and learn about what is recyclable in your blue carts. And that way they can go home, and really the whole point of this is going home and teaching their parents and their siblings and their neighbors that what we do want in that cart and what we don't. Our biggest contaminant right now in the stream is plastic bags. The Walmart sacks, the Reese's, wherever they're shopping, you get your plastic bags, and we do not want those in there. It's a little confusing because there's a recycling symbol and it says please recycle, which just means it's recyclable somewhere, so take it back to Walmart, but it's not recyclable in our stream. So we do focus on that a lot as well.
In doing that with the youngsters, and especially with the elementary kids, that has to be rewarding to you.
It is.
To see them accept it and begin to think about it. And
Yep.
it is important that that does come about now.
Yep, it is. And we do have we have billboard space and bus shelters and different media spend out there, and we run commercials on this station as well. But really what the biggest benefit we found is face-to-face. So building that relationship, really teaching them what is and isn't recyclable, because anyone can read a sign, but if they never visit it or never really learn about it, it's really.
Well, I think it's so good that you got involved with Gil Cloud, Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools, and the way you are working with him and working with the program.
Yeah.
That's just remarkable, I
Made
think.
it fun. We tried to make it fun, at least, put a little twist on it. So.
And do you see this really carrying over into adulthood for the kids?
Oh, of course, yes. So that's why we're teaching them now, and again, so they can go home and teach their parents. But then as these kids grow and they have homes here in Tulsa, they'll know, or it'll be second nature to them as far as the gray cart and the blue cart trash recycling, and they'll automatically know, they won't be confused. And of course, this program just rolled out 5 years ago in 2012, so it is still new. And a lot of people are trying, and they're what we call hopeful recyclers, so they do want to, but they might not know. There's been times that I've gone to PE classes and the coach wants to show me the recycling bin and it'll have plastic bags, so they're trying, but really, just because it has that recycling symbol doesn't mean it's recyclable in our stream, so.
Well, this has to be rewarding for you because as time has passed, you see it growing.
We do.
You see the dedication and the sincerity of the kids involved, and that's got to be rewarding for you.
It is, yeah. We're seeing the recycling going up, so we have a bigger more tonnage of recycling, and we're seeing the contamination rate go down, which is great, which means more money back to the city of Tulsa, and eventually, if we increase recycling, decrease contamination, their trash rates will go down as well. So,
how far do you see this spreading? Maybe in the metropolitan area and across the state? How far is it going to go?
Well, our main focus is the city of Tulsa, right? So we focus on the residents who pay for recycling, for trash and recycling services. Well, recycling is built into that, but really our main focus is just here for now, and then of course expanding into the schools and everything like that. So.
Well, I know that it has to be rewarding, and that I'm sure some new things come to mind that you might want to do, and could you share some of that?
We've thought about playing different games. We do go to high school basketball and football games, so we reach the elementary school kids in their PE classes, and then we reach families and the older kids at their games. So I set up a booth. I sometimes have candy. I like to bribe them over. And of course I have pamphlets and magnets for them to take home from there, and then reaching them from there where it's not as much of taking over PE class, but it's just an open table where they can approach me with questions if they have any.
Well, I know one thing, that what you're doing is so important, and I know that it is so appreciated by the Tulsa Public Schools, as well as I'm sure all of the parents and every place that you work. But it's a pleasure having you aboard.
Thank you.
Look to have you back soon and continue that good work.
Thank you so much.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. More coming up right after this.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics, as we welcome aboard the athletic director for the Tulsa Public Schools, Gil Cloud. And Gil, when we take a look at what's going to be happening as far as high school athletics is concerned, if the teachers go out on strike, what happens with practice? What happens with games in athletics?
Well, JV, our board has reacted to that based on the recommendation from the superintendent. And basically, we have about 8 things that we've sent to our athletics directors and we'll be posting on our website on Monday the 25th that indicates what our program will be. Basically, this is it. The only programs that will be active this spring, if school is closed, are varsity spring sports. And that would mean that JV, sophomore, freshman, or junior high activities would not play contest during that time. The young kids can practice with the varsity because they'll continue to have practice, but there'll be no contest during the time that school is closed, and that commences on April the 2nd, as it is stated now. We only can have practice after 3:30 because that's after the school day, the contracted period. In defiance of anything else, we want to be advocates for our teachers who are walking out. We do support their effort. There's no question about that. And so that is something that is important for us to know, that we'll not start anything before 3:30. Games that are scheduled, that would be scheduled before that time, that's a different story. Transportation will be provided for our student athletes to all the interscholastic contests. The one area that we do have a little bit of a problem with, but we have to live with, is that our activity buses that take kids home after practice will not run during this period of time. So there'll be no activity buses at 6 o'clock that leave the schools to go to the various locations in Tulsa. Our teams will be coached by our adjunct, our volunteer, and our teacher coaches. Each of the athletics directors will be sending me the programs that they have this spring with the coaches that will be supervising those teams, so that we'll have a record on who will be in the buildings and so on and so forth when the building's closed all day. And again, those won't be open until 3:30 in the afternoon. This would also include that our off-season programs, which include all the other sports, would not have the availability of the weight rooms, the gymnasiums, the swimming pools. Those will all be closed to anything but our varsity spring sports. Those will be the only people that will be allowed, our student athletes will be allowed to be able to use those facilities. Our athletic facilities will not be available for rental, although those who already have a pre-existing rental agreement will be grandfathered in, and those buildings will be open. There could be an increase in the amount of rent paid, because if the building's closed all day and the custodian is not there, we'll have to have a custodian there to open, and that will be overtime. So there could be an additional cost on that. And finally, we'll meet with our athletic directors this week, and we'll talk about all of these things that we're going to do at the various sites and how many programs we'll have available and so on. It's going to be a very interesting time. As long as it lasts, and we have no idea how long that will last, but we know commencing on the 2nd, it's going to be at least one day.
Well, the thing that hits me best is that I was so worried about the seniors that will be looking for college scholarships. Now, those kids will not be in any way hurt. They will be allowed to go ahead and participate, so that a college scout in baseball or in track or soccer, whatever it might be, they could still look at them to see if they could qualify.
I think that's one of the things when I met with the deputy superintendent and explained to her what our situation was. We have 255 senior student athletes this spring. And to negate their opportunity to be able to perform in their senior year, just to perform, much less to earn a scholarship, the combination of their academic and athletic career to be washed out was really not fair to those 250. So as we've said, we advocate for our teachers. We advocate for the principle that why we are closing, but we also have to advocate for our student athletes, and that's very important to those seniors.
Well, Gil, when you take a look at what you have done there, I think you have covered every base just about as well as it can be covered.
Well, it'll be covered until the first problem comes up, and then we'll handle that one as it comes. But we hopefully this is to benefit our student athletes.
Well, I think it would be, and especially if I had a son or a daughter playing that was on the margin for a scholarship, by what you have done, you have not taken that away from them, and I think that's so important.
Well, I really appreciate our superintendent and the Board of Education for making that recommendation and fulfilling it for our student athletes. I think that's very important for our kids.
Well, I know one thing for sure, Gil, that what you are doing and what you have done is always in the best interest of the kids, and I'm sure that they are going to appreciate that, especially now as they look back when they get out of school and what happens. They're going to appreciate what you have done.
What could have happened would not have been very good.
That's right.
If we shut down everything, it would not have been.
Well, we certainly appreciate you, and we'll be watching and see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. More coming up right after this.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff. Are you suffering from stuff? Stuff you don't know how to get rid of? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. Learn how to get rid of stuff easily and properly. TulsaRefuse.org. Just give us a click. It's that simple.
Welcome back to Inside Tulsa Athletics as we continue visiting with Gil Cloud, Director of Athletics for the Tulsa Public Schools. And, again, when you really look at everything that's going on, there is so much happening within the athletic programs of schools throughout the state of Oklahoma. The OSSAA, they have a lot more difficult job than they've had in the past, but it just means to me that the athletic directors have to be more involved than ever before.
I think you're right, JB. I think because of the logistics that we're talking about here with the possible shutdown, the day-to-day operation becomes a little more tedious because now you don't have the teaching, you don't have the classes, but you have the coordination of a lot of services for our student athletes, transportation, ticket takers, ticket sellers, clock operators that you depend on sometimes as faculty members who are not there. So now you've got to go find ticket takers,
Yes.
ticket sellers, clock operators. Security will be fine for a while, but if we're an extended time, 3-4 weeks, how many security guards can we keep on the payroll?
Well, when you take a look at it from that standpoint, I would just feel that the state legislature would know what is going to happen and that somehow they would bring about an agreement between education and legislation and get things going right.
Well, JB, we would hope so. It took West Virginia 9 days to settle their dispute. I think that would be acceptable here. 9 days would be okay. No days would be the optimum, and that could happen.
Yes.
I mean, we could have this thing maybe solved, although I understood today that the legislature is taking Thursday and Friday off because it's Easter weekend. So it looks like we have 3 days this week to be able to solve the issue. And so it could be next week, as we move into next week in the first shutdown. I know that there are districts that are planning to have their have their teachers transported down to the Capitol every day. And to make sure they're knocking on doors and asking those folks, what are we going to do about education? And the bottom line, JV, this is what is more concerning to me than just the athletics part of this, is what message are we sending for athletics? Where are we with the education of our students? We want to continue in athletics to have those kids have the opportunity, but when will their graduation be? So that they can go on to the next level and be a collegiate student and so on and so forth. Those plans have to be made right now. What are we going to do about assessment testing? What are we going to do about taking ACTs and SAT? All of those things are up in the air right now. And if the legislature, with the leadership of the governor, if they don't come forward for our kids, and that's how I look at this. This whole thing's about our kids. It's not, yes, the teachers' pay is an issue. There's no question. But budgets are also an issue. We've lost $500,000 in the last 2 years in our budget in athletics. I've lost 160 coaching positions and 120 teams that we've had to do away with because of the shortfall. That's more important than anything is what about these people that have been affected by that? And the students, obviously, not being in school, that's not a positive at all. But it may be the one thing that we can do to get somebody's attention in Oklahoma City.
You know, when you talk about that, it just, for those of us who went through those, what I call rather glorious years of athletics and academics working together, administration, teachers, everybody working together. And it seems like now that as a result of what has happened in state government, in the legislature, and with governor leadership, that they have not done what they should have done to keep it going.
I think you're right. And I think this is one thing that we really, really need to emphasize here as we wind down on time, is that we wholeheartedly, we being athletics, we wholeheartedly support our teachers. And it's not because we're not going to have walkout with our spring sports that we don't support them. We do support them, but we also support our kids and those 255 seniors that have an opportunity to compete for one more time. That's why we're there. But we certainly support our teachers, and we certainly hope that the people in Oklahoma City at the Capitol get the message.
Well, if they don't, I shudder to think what is going to happen, because those of us who are extremely prejudiced toward good schools, good education, good activities for kids, whether it's athletic or non-athletics, it's still significant to have those kids involved, and I just hope that we can continue.
And have them in school.
And have them in school. Always a pleasure, Gil, having you aboard.
Thank you.
Stay with us on Inside Tulsa Athletics. We have more coming up right after this.
Stuff. When you don't want it, what do you do with it? Go to TulsaRefuse.org. There, you'll learn what to do with stuff you don't know what to do with. Just give us a click. TulsaRefuse.org. It's what you do when you don't know what to do with stuff.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Thanks for being with us today on Inside Tulsa Athletics. Hope you enjoyed the show. And of course, we always want to encourage you to get out and support the boys and girls athletic programs of the Tulsa Public Schools. And we invite you to join us again in 2 weeks when we come back and bring you the update on athletics in the Tulsa Public Schools.